on the 28th of January, I was with my daughter, and we were on the way to pick up some food at Chinatown. And I was on Rene Levesque Boulevard going down east. And at one point, the police officer, when I was on Rene Levesque, I was in the center lane. He was on the left lane. When I looked on my left, he was looking at me. So we made eye contact. I kept on going straight. He kept on going straight. And then after a few lights, I looked again. He was there looking at me again. But this time he gave me a sign to pull over on the right side. So I pulled over. And the minute he came to my door, the first thing he asked me is, where are you going? So I told him I'm going to pick up food at the Chinese restaurant not too far. And then he proceeded, he asked me, whose car is this? I said, it's my wife's car. And he told me, is she the one sitting beside you? I said, no, it's my daughter. So he asked me for my driver's license, the registration, and insurance. So since it's my wife's car, I don't really know where she put it. I was looking for it. But in the meantime, I've given him my driver's license. So he started to tell me, are you sure you have insurance? There's a lot of people driving around with no insurance. And I told him, yeah, I have insurance. I wouldn't be driving if I didn't have insurance. So he just told me, didn't your insurance send you a confirmation by email? I said, yes, they did. He told me, okay, in that case, look for it. So he took my license and he left. So in a few minutes after, all I saw is that another car come beside him, right? And I saw he left the car to go talk to them. So in the meantime, I seen the registration, the confirmation from the insurance in my phone. So I'm like, before he goes back to his car and gives me a ticket, I'm going to show him he's already outside the car. So when I stepped out, I just turned, made one step. I didn't even have time to do another one. He grabbed my right hand, twisted in my back. You're under arrest for giving me a fake driver's license. My cell phone fell. And then one of the other cop picks it up. At the same time, my daughter gets out the car. She's like, what are you guys doing? He didn't do anything. What are you guys doing? They tell her, go back in the car. And me, I said, no. I started to scream at her to register, to record. I told her, record. Like, they can't tell you not to record. So then he tells me, the cop tell me, you have the right to a lawyer. You have the right to silence. Put me the handcuffs, put me in the back of the car. And he goes and joined the other police officers who were there. And I see them like searching through my phone and I don't know what they were looking for. So anyway, at one point they came back to the car and I told them, hey guys, you cannot search my phone and stuff like that because I'm a lawyer and my stuff is covered under solicitor privilege, client privilege, because you might compromise some of my clients' information. And they started laughing. So at that point, I'm like, what's so funny? And they didn't say anything. So they proceeded to search my wallet. So he took out my Medicare card first and then my bar school card. Then he took out my bar membership. And at that point, I think he realized that what I was saying is the truth. So he got out the car with my stuff. And then he went to see the other police officers who were outside. Now there were 6 in total. And then, so they spoke for like 5 minutes. All this time, I'm still handcuffed behind the car. He comes back to the car and he tells me, listen, if you don't get too mad, I'm going to remove the handcuffs. And I'm like, don't you think I have all the reason in the world to be mad at what really just happened? Like, he said, well, I'm going to give you a ticket for holding your cell phone while driving. I'm like, even if you're giving me a cell phone, you're giving me a ticket for holding my cell phone while driving, what am I doing behind the car? And he proceeded, he told me something, oh, you don't know what happened earlier this day. And I told him, whatever happened earlier or after has nothing to do with me. I'm just trying to pick up food with my daughter and now I'm behind a cop car handcuffed. So he came, he removed the handcuffs and I asked him for the badge number of all the policemen who was there, all 6 of them. He said, no, it will be, his badge will be on the ticket. Actually, he actually told me he's going to go in his car and bring it. So he handed me the ticket and they just took off. So I was so shocked. I dialed 911 from my phone. And then they told me that that unit, the supervisor was going to call me. So he called me about 20 minutes after. And I tried to talk to him and he's trying to tell me, oh, you got out the car aggressively. And I'm like, there's no way that can be because it's like, I didn't try to justify, there's no justification. How do you get out of a car like aggressively? and I just saw where the conversation was going, right? He was trying to justify what they did. So I just said, thank you very much. Have a nice day. And I just hang up the phone. And this is really what happened.
And of course, this seems like an obvious question, but how were you feeling when this all happened?
I mean, the minute they came on me and grabbed my hand, I just was thinking like, what's going to happen? I'm going to lose my life or something. That's why I screamed for my daughter to come and film, because I'm like, she's 15 years old. If anything happens to me here, it's only her against these policemen. And so I screamed at her to film in case she wouldn't have to go through like some trauma to go and her against the police or anything like that. There will be something on film that everybody can see. That's why I was screaming at her to actually film. And then I was so scared, like shocked at that moment, but in my head, all I was thinking also is to stay calm. I didn't want to make no brusque gesture or anything for trigger them for anything like that, right? And that's all I was thinking about.
And today, the city of Montreal, they've come out with recommendations to combat racial profiling. And so some of them include, they have to justify why they're randomly stopping traffic. I don't know if you've seen these recommendations, but I was wondering, what do you think of more recommendations being added today?
It's a good step in the right direction, right? But it's I just feel like recommendation upon recommendation or recommendation, we need action, right? It's too much recommendation and too much studies and stuff like that. We need action. Plus, it's the problem is deeper than that. It's not only Montreal police. It's also Laval police, Longueuil. It's the whole police system that really need an overhaul of how they do police and do police in the province and how they act with minorities and people of color. It's not only the city of Montreal.
And based on what you lived, how do you think SPVM officers are going to react to these recommendations that they've been sort of imposed today?
Like I always say, of course they're not gonna come out of the public and say we don't like this, and Chef Caron will come out and say they will try to implement them, they will give them training. But what actually happens on the field, it's a different story, right? It's once they're on the field, it's a way completely different story. And that's where accountability needs to happen. It's after action, the police officers need accountability. I just feel there's not enough accountability towards them. So they kind of roam and patrol the city of Montreal like they want, right?
And how do you hope the recommendations are going to help in the city once they're truly applicated, if they are?
Once it's applicated rightfully and the police abide by it, I think people will start to trust the police more, and we will see less cases like mine, less racial profiling, because now they have to justify why they're stopping a car and not just leave it at the discretion of the police, right? Because that discretion, it looks like it's not, there's no law or nothing around it. It's up to the police feeling and how he feels. And because it's like that, it has given a lot of leeways and a lot of abuse from the police.